It is a lot of ways you can clean it up, your screws and the nuts you're going to use for the engine, but because they have a lot of oil, WD-40 break down the oil. That's my way to clean it up them. And microfibers, it's my biggest friend, and I have to go through all the screws and nuts we're gonna use on this engine, and with the WD-40 one by one I'm gonna take them out and put them on a good clean paper before I use them. With the same exactly way I'm gonna clean it up, all the main caps, all the caps for the connecting rods, and go through cleaning up my camshaft, get out all the bearings, check them out if they have any place or spots you have a problem. I show you right now how was the old and the new, but I'm gonna explain you even better later. Now is the time I have zip tied all the connecting rods, and they are up in exactly on the place to I can install the crank. And now I'm gonna remove all the old bearings, and I'm gonna inspect all the engine after the spawn bearings that I have on the camshaft. And as you see, I find metal of the bearings, and all of that I'm gonna try to clean them really good with a screwdriver. Try to nothing fall in the holes. That was a little bit long process, but that's how you have to be sure to go through everything. After I clean it up, everything very careful, I have to go and blow everything, all the holes, very careful. Don't left anything behind because it's gonna have a problem. I also want to tell you guys, I checked the compression of the engine and it was very high. That's why I don't get out the pistons and the heads and put new rings. Fiber clean everything and wipe out and check here the old bearings. So that's the old bearings, and now I want to show you what happened when the metal of the old bearings go in. You see this line? This is a huge line, and my nail is stuck over there. It's exactly on the line on the holes where the oil going. So this one travel in and make it damage on the bearing. That was the biggest damage, I guess. This is one of the mains. As you see, it's not bad. This engine have 350,000 miles, and it's look very good for so many miles. It was in a truck. This is one of the connecting rods. I want you to see, like, this one, it's not bad at all. Like, they can potentially, this can stay in. You always check if it's standard. It's the original GM standard bearings. So I ordered again GM standard. That's here you can see the difference between the old and the new. If you see, it's super clean. So now everything is clean, and I have zip tied everything, and everything is ready. It's time to I'm gonna start to put the bearings in after I have changed the cam bearings. That can be a separate video if you guys want to know how you can change bearings on the camshaft. So all the hydraulic lifters, it's in. I'm gonna try to spray some oil, assemble lube. You can spray just oil, and I just want to have an extra lubrication for the first start. In this point, you never put any oil on the main caps or on the connecting rods before you put the bearings. Here's the installation for the camshaft. I lubricate everything very well, and as soon as I go on the last step before I go in, I'm going and add more oil on the mains and everywhere. And now I'm gonna turn upside down and put on the other side as well before the last step. Now after I step in and I'm all the way in, I'm gonna check if it's everything working perfect. It's look very good, and we are good for the camshaft. Now it's time to install the bearings. I'm gonna open and check all the bearings. I'm gonna inspect if it's standard, if they have up and down the original bearings. They don't have upper or lower bearing on the rods. So it doesn't matter which side they're gonna go. As soon as you put the same box bearings on the same place, and the main caps it's different. They have up and down. So after I install everything, I put assembly lube everywhere, and as you see, I have cut all the zip ties, and I save only 2 zip ties because the crank need to be exactly on one spot and only one spot. That's the only way you can put it in and out, and I take a picture of that and I check the picture and I was exactly there. So now I'm gonna cut the zip tie for this side, for the cylinder 5 I think, and start to install the main caps after my crank gets all the way in. That's the way I put all the screws down, and I put assembly lube or any lube you can put. You need to go on the threads, and you need to go on the down of the head of the screw. This is the stock screws on the engine. I'm gonna use the same ones. You can switch them and put new ones, but the manufacturer say you can use them 3 times. It's about money, and I want to have the low cost on this engine. As you see, nice and slow I'm going tandem down. Now it's the time I have to put all of them on 15 foot-pounds, and as you see, I love this tool because he showed me how many of the screw I have torque. So I have torque 10 of them, the inders. After that I have made the outside ones and hit back and front with a plastic hammer and check the thrust. You need to have the gap here, and put an angle my tool and going to torque the inside 80 degrees and the outside 51 degrees. Check of course for how many I have torque, and when I'm sure of that, if you want to double check yourself, you can put on 25 psi, 25 foot-pounds, and check again all the screws. So now you know, because it was 15, if it's torquing 25, you are good to go. So after that I'm gonna lift the connecting rods for the first and second. See my mark? This is a broken rods, and you have only one way to go, and that's the mark. I know I have the number 1, and I'm putting the incorrect. It's only one place can go, like I told before, but I double check it with my mark. And after here I can show you like how you put the oil. Need to be on the thread and need to be on down of the head. The first torque it's 15 foot-pounds, 15, and after 85 degrees. That's the process you're gonna use in all the connecting rods. That's the cylinder number 5 and 6. I'm going to lift and install. Always pay attention exactly on the process on the oil and torque them, all of them exactly the same. It's very important. This engine was, like I tell, a junkyard 6.0. It's the code of the engine is LQ4, and yeah, this engine, it was very good. He actually make almost 500 horsepower with some small upgrades. We can talk in a separately video about that. Let me know if you guys that find interesting. Cylinder number 7 and 8 installed right now and torquing down, and after we have cylinder number 3 and 4. On this point I want to thank all of you to stay tuned so far. I hope you find this video educating, and please let me know if you want to see more of this style of videos and what you can guys find interesting. I always spin the engine to make sure everything functions good and nothing stuck. Side bolts I use exactly the same, the stock ones like we use on the whole engine. I put grey silicone. I love grey silicone. That's the way I do it, and I put silicone in all of them because I don't want them to leak. And I'm gonna add a little bit blue Loctite. That's what's only left of on my hand. And nice and clear, I'm gonna put the blue Loctite and get them ready. And here we go. I leave it to go everywhere. Install all the screws with my electric tool over there, the 3/8 rods, and go and torque them down to 20 foot-pounds. So now we have all the mains and everything installed. I'm gonna get the old used cam plate, and because I don't have the rear plate in the engine, because I don't see the O-ring look so clean, I'm gonna put a little bit of the silicone and clean it up over there in the middle. Blue Loctite again, use the old screws, torque them down to 20 foot-pounds, and now the camshaft cannot go front, and I'm gonna install the gear so it cannot go back before I install the back plate.